Okay, it's 7:30, and I'm going to call the meeting to order. Before we say the Pledge of Allegiance, I would just like to let everyone know that we are on video, so you should know that, and that our meetings are videoed and that they will be put on YouTube. So we had a training last night, and we were told that it's a wonderful courtesy to extend to our audience so that there are no surprises. So at this time, I would ask you all to rise and join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, I'll call the roll. Mr. Clark.
Here.
Mr. Hopkins.
Here.
Ms. Nixon. Here. Ms. Powell.
Yeah, here.
Mr. Truesdale.
Yes.
The Mayor Pro Tem, Mrs. Conley, is here, and the Mayor and Mayor Gerald Hall is absent. I would entertain a motion to excuse Mayor Hall.
I move to excuse Mayor Hall.
Second.
Second. The motion has been moved and seconded to excuse Mayor Hall. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. The motion carries. At this time, we're going to move on to, and I should note he's in West Virginia, so he is really far away. Hi, Jerry. Yes. At this time, the council welcomes and encourages the public to speak during the public comment and public hearing portions of the agenda. However, the council policy is to hear the public comment, not to act on the public comment at this time. Concerns brought before the council during the public comment portion of the agenda will be referred to the city manager for action. If after communicating with the city manager, no resolution is reached, the concern will be elevated to the mayor and then eventually to council for action. Those citizens wishing to speak on the agenda and non-agenda items will be allowed a maximum of 4 minutes each to address their concerns. I have a timer. This is the only time during the council meeting that citizens are allowed to address the council. If you would like us to return correspondence, you need to state your name and provide your address to the clerk. Is there anyone wishing to speak to the council at this time?
Patricia Trost. You have your hearing aids up? Just want to make sure. At last night's training, I was beyond emotional as it had come to light that what had happened and what had been said about Ashley and myself during this recall and last election and what some of you accused us of and what you told the voters was proven not the truth. Even as much as you want to block me out, ignore, or try to twist the words of the trainer to get an answer that you wanted to hear in an attempt to try and clear your conscience did not happen. As we all learned that Ashley and I did nothing wrong when actually what accused prior council members of you, my friends, are doing. Since the election, you have also proven that there is only one agenda, and that is of the Red Flannel Board. By going to meetings as a representative of the city and trying to come up with a contract outside of public's eye is against the law. By handing out red flannel material at a function as a city council member is also against the law, and you have now jeopardized the 5013C requirements for the red flannel. I want to remind council that the festival still happened in 2012, 13, and 14 without the city using their logo. But the Red Flannel Board figured out pretty quickly that they just lost all their free advertisement and have done nothing but try to get their hold back on the city, and this is just another way of doing just that. Since the election, there is not one concern you've addressed except for that of the agenda of the Red Flannel Board. You have proven that you cannot be a mother of a Red Flannel Board member and also be the best friend to a board member to have an open mind as to what is truly happening, because you have now isolated yourself from a community as a whole that you're supposed to represent. I also want to remind you that it was not the city that tried to sue the Red Flannel, that on August 6, 2012, it was the Red Flannel that sent the cease and desist to the city, and the city only made that demand. By accepting or hanging this, you do so under a cloud of dishonesty and lies. For members who claim to be Christians and people of faith, not once you showed Jesus' love and compassion. You lied, gossiped, were deceitful, and downright cruel to get your way. But God knows you and knows your heart, and you cannot hide from Him. Colossians 3:12-13. So as those who have been chosen of God, holy and beloved, put on a heart of compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, patience, bearing with one another, and forgiving each other. Whoever has a complaint against you, just as the Lord forgave you, so also should I. This is how I try to live my life, but for some reason I have been trying too hard to prove that good always overcomes evil, and I needed you to admit that what you did was wrong. But because of Jesus' love shown me, God has helped me realize that I don't need anything from any of you, that I need to truly forgive you, which I now do. I need to let God handle the rest, as I can now truly let all of this go. To sum this up, we are all instructed to be harmonious, sympathetic, brotherly, kind-hearted, and humble in spirit, not returning evil for evil or insult for insult, but giving a blessing instead, for you were called for the purpose that you might inherit a blessing. 1 Peter 3:18-9. With that, I also ask for forgiveness from you for holding grudges against some of you. I also pray for blessings for you and show forgiveness for all of you. And I will put my trust in God, as I know He doesn't want this for me, and I know He has way better things in store for me, as being right settles nothing, but being graceful shows everything. Thank you. This can be put in the minutes.
Thank you.
Kathy Bremer. As far as anyone knows, the threat of a lawsuit against the city still stands. Because the city couldn't afford to support the festival in 2012, as it had in the past, the festival president signed a notice of intention to file a claim of trademark infringement. The city was to, quote, preliminary and permanently enjoined and restrained from using the red flannel town mark, the circular logo, etc. The city was further directed to destroy all literature, signs, stationery, business cards, park benches, vehicles, and multiple other items which contain the infringing designation. What has changed? An offhand remark was heard from a red flannel volunteer at last night's meeting after I spoke at the public forum. Quote, that all changed in November. I can only take that to mean that with the council now comprised of known red flannel followers, the negotiations that had been done behind closed doors and out of the public eye have made a difference. I believe citizens have a right to know whether they are now at risk of another lawsuit if the powers that be with the red flannel board decide the city has stepped over the line. Meaning no disrespect to Mr. Merlington, but this act seems like a backdoor attempt for these followers of red flannel to again bully the city into using their logo. They have lost a lot of contributions because of the lawsuit. They have lost a lot of people who just simply can't stand the thought of it anymore. And it's not people that I know personally, it's strangers that have talked. So I think that if the council instructs the manager to hang that logo, you're in violation of the law.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to speak? Hearing. Oh, sorry. Okay. Didn't mean to ignore you. Just need to see you behind the flag. And I'm kind of short.
Yeah, Steve McBride, 139 7th Street. I came here having a happy heart. Most of my time in this town has been all my life. I've always had a happy heart in this town. And I know a lot of people here. They might not have the suit and ties, but they got hearts. I came in here with a good light heart. And just this shroud of darkness is just overwhelming. I recite scriptures in my heart too. And I certainly do not judge before I am judged. That's scriptural. But I love this town. I love the people in it. I've fought hard for this town, one person. And we're on a good step. We're on a good positive step. So we can finally move forward. And those that choose to not be a part of that, then, that's just the way it goes. You got them in every town. But I love this town. I love my red flannel. People are synonymous. You can twist it any kind of way that you want. But I've heard people all over this planet say, Cedar Springs, red flannel town. Red flannel town, Cedar Springs. It's worth it. It brings out an incredible amount of revenue into this town. And, I just appreciate coming in here and being able to speak, because that's what we're supposed to do when need be. I believe in the American way, and there's nothing more American than red flannel, and I will defend it just about as much as I will defend my flag of my country that I reside in, that I have freedom for, and anything else does not matter. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else wishing to address the council at this time?
Madam Clerk, Mark Bankhauser, 91 West Muskegon Street. Good evening, Council. Madam Mayor Pro Tem, I'd like to address the Council this evening on a couple different issues. First and foremost, I'd like to commend the Red Flannel Festival for presenting a tribute to the former Mayor, Mr. Merlington. Mrs. Merlington, it's been a privilege and a pleasure of mine to be your neighbor and to have had Ron as my teacher and my neighbor and a mentor to me also. Apologize, Madam Mayor Pro Tem, for addressing the citizen and not yourself. However, I believe it is truly a unique opportunity for us to recognize in with a symbol or a symbolic tribute to the former mayor of the city of Cedar Springs. Ron has been a phenomenal individual, and this evening is for that, is to provide a tribute. Once again, as previous citizens have addressed, there are concerns already out there on the table that this council is facing to look at, and they have to address that issue. As I've said before in the past, and I've been very strong on that same belief, both entities can survive independent. I believe that the Red Flannel Festival is a good organization. They provide a unique opportunity to the citizens of the city of Cedar Springs and the community at large to come together and to have shared ideas and views on one weekend in the year. The city of Cedar Springs also can stand independent and be proud, much like the Red Flannel Festival can. I do not believe we need to blend the two logos together. The Red Flannel Festival has their logo, and they're very proud of that logo, and I support that logo. The city of Cedar Springs has its logo, or its moniker. As Mr. McBride talked about, cities around the country and people from around the country address Cedar Springs as the Red Flannel Festival town. That is true. Regardless of what the moniker is that hangs behind any wall or behind any group of people, the city of Cedar Springs will always be continued to be known as the Red Flannel town. Grand Rapids is still called the Furniture City. I can show you their moniker. You will not see a single piece of furniture on that moniker. The Windy City, Chicago, has no indication of any kind of wind symbol in its moniker, and it's still called the Windy City. The Big Apple, New York City, New York, has no apple in any moniker for the city, and it's still called the Big Apple around the world. So let's not confuse what we're here for tonight. We're here to pay tribute to Ronnie Merlington with that tribute, and I sincerely hope this council will look at that and take to heart the contractual issues that were at play years ago and that are still possibly at play today. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to address the council at this time? Anyone else? Okay. Moving on to the approval of the agenda. I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I move to approve the agenda as presented.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The agenda has been approved. The new business is a discussion tonight, and we have a policy on our council that we do not vote on things that have not been presented to the council as an information item in a previous meeting. So this is the information item in which we will embrace this amazing gift and celebrate this wonderful man this evening, and then we will vote on the installation of it in June. And at this time, I would like to give each of the council members an opportunity to discuss their feelings about Ronnie and this wonderful offer of celebration of his life from behalf of the Red Flannel Festival. Who would like to go first? Okay, Ms. Nixon?
I did not know Ronnie Merlington personally, but what I do know about him and what I've seen from how he's affected others is that he genuinely loved this community. He cared deeply for it and loved our unique culture that we have. I'm honored to be sitting on a council that is given the opportunity to honor him. And I would like to thank the festival for offering to permanently loan this medallion to us as a symbol of that.
Anyone else have anything to add?
I guess I'd like to say that to me the red flannel is not a logo, but it's a symbol of our community, our culture, our history, and it goes beyond just a sign. And hopefully we can restore it to our community and our city identity as Cedar Springs, Red Flannel Town. And that's all I have to say.
Other council members?
Well, you know, I never had the opportunity of going to school to Ronnie Merlington. Anyway, one evening he sat on my porch and told me of a happening, and I don't know whether I should relate it or not, but a few months after he retired from being the mayor of the city, he was in conversation with a certain city employee, and the city employee said to him, "Now that you're no longer mayor, I guess I can tell you how I feel about you." And like Ronnie would be in his disposition, he said, "Go ahead, I don't care how you feel about me." And I guess that would be my position tonight, is that we have to move on no matter who likes you or don't like you. Everyone wants friends. No one wants enemies. And I think we can once again be a town where we're truly friends. We'll be there to help one another. And as Molly just made mention to me before the session, she hopes and not hopes, but she relayed the thought that if some of you folks that consider me an enemy, if I find you stranded along the road, and that's what she was saying, I'll stop and help you. And that's what this life is all about, folks. I'm proud to be a resident of this city and have just a little part in what's happening here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Truesdale. Councilor Hopkins?
I only met Ronnie once. Other than that, I don't know him. Didn't know him, I should say. But I think it's great that we can honor one of our former mayors, a former citizen. And I think it's great that the Red Flannel Festival decided to do something to honor him. And if there's a possible way for that cease and desist order to be removed, it'll be an honorable thing to be able to put on our wall so that we as a community can move ahead. But we need that cease and desist letter to be removed in order for that to be legal.
Okay. Councilor Clark?
When I was first introduced to the Red Flannel Town, we were a part, my wife and I were a part of a religious group that would not really be able to enjoy the festival because it just wasn't within our tradition. And so I was kind of on the outside of that for years and years. I never knew Mr. Merlington, but my wife had contact with him, and she always spoke highly of him. And the division that has been a part of our community now for a few years. I don't think would be a part of what Ronnie would want for us. And I don't think it really is what any of us want for us. I hope that in some way, however that works out, through the legalities of the injunction, through the hanging of this memorial to Ronnie, if that is voted into play next month, I hope that that will be a way of bringing some kind of reunification in the community, and perhaps over time our feelings can meld back together.
Anyone want a follow-up comment? Okay, with that, I have a little something prepared, and I served on the council with Ronnie. I think I might be the only one here that did. Several people in the audience, but of the council members here, I think I am the only one that served with Ronnie. And of course, Mayor Hall was the DPW director under Ronnie for many years. But Ronnie and I shared the love of education, and we both were social studies, history, government teachers. And he debated for MSU, and I debated for CMU. So a couple of debaters, government teachers on the city council. I guess we were sort of kindred spirits, and with maybe, a little bit of time apart in our ages. And for that, I have a great fondness for Ronnie. And he was very supportive when I was in the library. We were trying to get a library commission and district library. And the vote didn't pass. And he came down to my house and he said, "Don't worry, we'll get it. I promise. Our community is better than that. And by the way, your flowers look good." Thank you, Honorable Mayor. But I don't know what to say when the mayor comes and you're reading your flowers. But so I'm very fond of Ronnie. And I put these words together in hopes that I can honor him in the same way that the festival is trying to honor him tonight. John Quincy Adams said, "If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader." This statement exemplifies Ronnie Merlington. He was an educator, an active community member, and above all, a leader. Ronnie was an educator. How many people in this room sat in a class where Ronnie was the teacher? How many? Look at this. The Honorable Mayor Jerry Hall told me he had Ronnie as a government teacher. Now, I won't publicly state Jerry's age, but we can suffice it to say that as the grandfather of a college graduate, that was a little while ago, the numbers of lives he touched can be counted in the thousands. Ronnie was committed to community service. He believed as a government teacher it wasn't enough to teach the principles of American government. You had to lead by example, and thus he ran for city council. He gave close to 30 years of service to this community sitting in one of these seats. I am grateful to have had the opportunity to serve beside him. In keeping with his belief in the history and dignity of this community, in 1999, he led the council to commission the artist Jim Vandermolen to handcraft a representational image of our city. At that time, it seemed fitting that it featured the iconic Union suit that has for the better part of a century now come to represent Cedar Springs. All who entered this hall and saw the beautiful piece of artwork could share in the sense of history this evoked. Margaret Mead said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, concerned citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." Ronnie believed this, and as a leader, he embraced those that came forward with ideas and actions that bettered our community, from concerts in the park by the Parks and Rec, to building a new library, to participating in the festival by driving carriage horses in the parade. He loved the parade. And in 1999, being the Grand Marshal. It is in this spirit I would like to thank the Red Flannel Festival for the generous offer of this permanent loan presented in Ronnie's memory. This is the true spirit of community he so greatly valued. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. In this way, Ronnie Merlington was a true leader, and I hope you've made him proud. Is there any other business to come before the council? Any council comments? Welcome. I tell Jerry I didn't muck it up. With that being said, I will entertain a motion, and I hear there's cookies. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Are they getting their presentation?
Oh,
Where is it?
that would be helpful. You're absolutely right. I should let them do that. That would be bad.
I'm just kind of waiting for my,
Get up, Jerry.
waiting for my turn, you know.
Before, I will not entertain a motion to adjourn.
We do have cookies though, and mine is very, very brief, so it'll be okay. On behalf of the entire Red Flannel Festival Board of Directors, I'd like to thank you all for scheduling this special meeting. It's difficult for everybody to get together, and certainly wanted to accommodate Perry and his business. Also want to recognize Ronnie's wife, Shirley. She's our 2015 Grand Marshal this year, in case anybody didn't know that. And her son Dominic and his wife Chris. Dominic and I graduated together. I'd like the Red Flannel Festival All-Volunteer Board of Directors to stand. Just stand and wave so everybody knows who you are. These 9 people make it happen every single year. For free. It's a great honor and privilege to be here this evening to present the City Council this positive, collaborative opportunity to honor Mayor Ronnie Merlington with its memorial medallion. Just as the festival's trademark on the water tower signifies 76 years of our Red Flannel Town community pride, we are hopeful that you will vote unanimously in June for this memorial medallion to be displayed with that same community pride here in the council chamber. I can't say much more about Ronnie, I'll cry. And that will ruin my image for sure.
Thank you. So, with that, and to get to the cookies, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll support that motion.
I will entertain a motion.
I move to.
It's been moved and supported. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, we are adjourned. Here's going to be cookies.
Can I say a word?
Yeah.
It's a short word, I just want to take